Hey guys, welcome back to the 90-day challenge. This week's theme, if you don't know already from the song cover, is music. So on Monday, I took my first ever singing lesson because as a child, I really loved singing, but my parents just wouldn't let me get singing lessons. And then finally now I decided to start because this is what the challenge is all about. It went, I would say, pretty good. So the first song I chose to sing for my singing instructor was Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson, which I made a song cover of at her in the top right, this whatever side. Make sure to check it out if you haven't already, but that is my first ever official song cover that I ever recorded and posted on public. Give me any comments if you have. But here I want to just talk about what I've learned in the lessons, and maybe you guys will find it helpful if you also want to try singing or just generally improve on singing. So the first things that we talked about was vowels. So in the English alphabet, we have A, E, I, O, U. Now, there are closed vowels and open vowels. This is mostly based off of the IPA, which is the International Phonetics Alphabet, I believe. So closed vowels are the I and E. A is more neutral, and then open vowels are O and U. There's also more like the front and back vowels, and then round and versus unrounded. This gets more into linguistics. But why is this important for singing? So the closed vowels, like I and E, they give you more tension in your voice because your larynx position is higher compared to the open vowels. And a higher larynx means more tension. So if you just try swallowing right now, so now try pausing when you just swallow. That position right there, it's a high larynx, and basically if you try to talk or speak in at that time, you can't because your larynx is here and it's like all the tension's there. You can't even produce anything. So same thing goes with singing. When there are words that end with these vowels, so in my song, Piece by Piece, piece ends with E, which is a closed vowel, which means if I try to pronounce it really well and stay for a long time, it may mean that my larynx goes up and it makes it harder for me to sing it because there's a lot of tension. Now that happened when I took my lesson, and my singing instructor suggested to maybe alter the vowels. Instead of using an E sound, I would use an E sound, but then it's free, fre, or peace, pes. Now, I personally don't like altering the pronunciation, but this is more like a personal decision and depends on the artist. For me, I decided not to do it because I just don't like it. It sounds weird, it's pace by pace. No, thank you. But that is an option if you're experiencing a lot of tension. Instead, I wanted to work on this tension and basically do singing practices to lower this tension and be able to sing at high pitch and also with these closed vowels. Now, in the cover I did, I'll link it wherever side. You would hear that I actually pronounced it the correct way and didn't alter it. And there were a few spots that could have been a bit better in terms of voice control, but again, I'm still working on it. Now, the second thing that we talked about is volume and more volume, pitch, and compression. Now, most people would think that for a higher pitch, you would need to put more air, more effort, but actually it is the opposite. So lower pitch uses more air versus a higher pitch, because when you're trying to do a high pitch, you're basically contracting your vocal cords to reach that note, while the lower notes, your compression expands. So when the vocal cords are like a slit like this, then you don't need as much air to push through, because if you put too much air, then all the air is trying to like rush in, and then you would just get more tension. And then versus when your vocal cords are expanded, then obviously there's much more like area to cover, so you would need to put in more air in order to produce the sound. Now, there's also the misconception of like, oh, but it's higher and I want to make it loud. In that case, I would need to use more air. But then again, it's still the same concept as like, if it's just a slit and you're trying to force air through, if it like doesn't have that much space, then everything would just get stuck and then you would just be building more tension. So instead of doing that, you want to use not as much air as you think it would. Maybe just like give it a try at home and experiment with how much air you need. Another way of trying to reduce tension, from what my singing instructor said, was to put your tongue out when you try to do like maybe a scale. So like ah. Now if you try doing it higher, you feel that you don't feel as much tension when you go to the higher ranges, because your tongue, like sticking out your tongue, reduces tension of like the muscles around here because there's nothing to hold in. Now like ah, something like that. Now, obviously, like I don't have a piano here, so I can't actually play the music and have you guys practice, but feel free to just do what I did here, just like 5 notes up and down, and then go up all the way until you feel that when you're out of your range, basically. Now, another thing that my singing instructor taught me was like the larynx. So the larynx is basically the vocal folds in your throat, and these vocal folds, there are 5 of them, and when you're using your chest voice, all 5 of them are vibrating. But then when you're using your head voice or falsetto, it only vibrates 2 of them. So when you're trying to sing like higher voice, now I actually forgot why this was relevant. I just remembered that there was 5, and then the chest voice vibrated 5 and vocal cords vibrated 2. But another thing that he said was try to put your hand right here and then sing, and then you should be feeling the vibration. And as you reach a higher pitch, you would feel less vibration, but try to keep like a vibration here instead of like going up or something else, because that basically tells you how much tension you have. So if you're vibrating very little, you would probably have very high tension because you're basically like holding it tight and it just can't move, right? Normally it would like, you know, I can't really, just vibrate your hands. But that is what my singing instructor taught me. And tomorrow I'm thinking of doing an analysis of my singing cover and see like what spots I can improve on, which spots I need to like maybe try to find something new for it, and to see where I can generally improve. Just as a summary, so we talked about that this week's theme is music, and I'll mostly be doing like singing covers, and I'm also trying to learn Ableton in hopes of writing my own song in the future, but I don't think I will be able to finish it in a week span because I never composed before and don't really have any like lyrical ideas right now, and those come like at random times, right? I can't just like force myself to write one because that might be terrible. Now, what I talked about in this video is what I learned in my first singing lesson, which included the vowels, so closed open, the IE, AEIOU, and how you can alter words to reduce tension when you try to sing something that's high pitched and is a closed vowel. The second thing I talked about is the larynx. So larynx is the vocal folds, and you basically want to keep it vibrating because if it doesn't vibrate, then it just means like you have too much tension. And I talked about the singing exercise where you put out your tongue and just like do scales. That will help reduce tension as you practice more of it. Now, the third thing I talked about is like when you're doing a high pitch versus a low pitch. Low pitch uses more air because there is like less compression, while high pitch, there's more compression and the air goes through like basically a smaller area, so you actually use less air to produce the sound. Oh, the last thing that I talked about is that I am gonna do a analysis of my cover song and try to see like where I can improve and what I can do to practice. And throughout the weeks, I'll be continuing my singing practices and trying to really understand the information that my singing instructor gave me. He didn't really give me like that many singing exercises in particular, but mostly like these knowledge that I talked about throughout this video, and I'll try to implement it and maybe try a more difficult song in the future and do a cover of it. If you guys have any like song suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below and I'll give it a try as best as I can, because I don't know if I can do it or not. So if it's really bad, I probably won't post it, but I will try my best to see what I can do. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And that's it. Peace.